Greetings. I'm George Foster Ryan, the Getto Free Press, and I'm standing in front of Valdosta City Hall to give reflections on the City Council meeting for June the 10th, 2021 that took place in the City Chambers last night. As a member of the social media, this is only a prelude into the complete video that I will be posting later on my YouTube channel, Boston G.B.R. Last night we had citizens to address the mayor and council. And of course, the mayor is Scott James Matheson. And as citizens began to discuss their issues under the title of Citizens to be Heard about monies and how they are spent in the city, and Mr. Robertson spoke about a $250 million incubator to help restore, revitalize the underprivileged people on the south side of the railroad track of Social Divide. I'm not going to step into the content of his delivery too much here. That will be forthcoming in a video I hope to post within the next 3 or 4 days. Mr. Robertson asked the mayor and council for an additional minute or two to wrap up his presentation, and it was granted.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm John Robinson, 3227 San Circle, Lake Park. And I would ask that I can be extended a couple of minutes if deemed necessary, because what I'm about to address to you today is very critical and very important, and it's something that you definitely need to hear.
Great. So we reset his time so that he was handing out items.
Then I'll address the mayor and council on the executive order given by the now President Biden, who also are interested in revitalizing the people that have been locked out of the economic pie for decades, if not centuries. I too asked the mayor for 1 minute. He reluctantly said to me, I will give you 45 seconds. Be that as it may.
I'm Dr. Oscar Ryans and Vice General Port Oak Drive, Valdosta, Georgia. For too many years, little have been done to really help and resolve the issues in the underprivileged community here in Valdosta and across the nation. Our former President, President Trump, signed the executive order 139-50, which hampered and cut out a lot of the benefits for the oppressed people across America. I'm not going to get.
Then, of course, there was a wrap-up by Pastor Darren Neal. And of course, he is also the president of the Valdosta-Loudoun County branch of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And of course, he asked for additional time. And it also was granted with a little friction.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Pastor Darren Neal, pastor of Christ Gospel Missionary Baptist Church, 1402 East Hill Avenue, president of NAACP. The reason I'm here tonight is exactly what Reverend Robinson and Bur Rhymes spoke about. It's not that monies are coming down the line, they're monies that are here. President Biden has done a great deal of work to bring the underserved and underprivileged, those people that have been forgotten about, to parity and to equity. One of the things he did with the American Rescue Plan was outline funding that should be given specifically to these people. This money that has come here to the city of Valdosta is to be used to help the underserved, to build up the infrastructure in those areas that are dilapidated, worn down. And one of the things that raised my eyebrow, and this is not directed to Mr. Barber in the negative way, in the negative light, but we sat with John Ossoff, and when John Ossoff stated the number of monies that was coming down the line, I heard the city manager say, hey, I've already got something to do with that money. Well, that money has specifications attached to it. We cannot use that money to supplement our budget or, let's say, supplant. This city has a budget already that's in place. That budget is designed to keep us running. This money that is being sent is to help those people in these areas, especially in these census tract areas, in which money just never seems to reach it.
And so now I just want to say to you today, June the 11th, I decided to come and do a prelude live on Facebook so the people in Valdosta, Lowndes County, the state of Georgia, and in the United States of America could see a little bit about what black folk must go through, even in addressing the elected officials that they put into office. Now, I've said this to several of the city council members, and now I'm going to say it to you, that I was slightly disappointed in the elected officials, the black ones and the white ones, who sat there and did nothing for the most part as we watched the police get ready to carry Pastor Neal from the meeting. Now, you're going to see this on my video when I post in 3 or 4 days, because I don't want you to think that I'm lying. Now, if you Google George Boston Rhymes, the Getto Free Press, in Madison, Florida, Whitman, Meigs, Lumpkin, Camilla, Dawson, Homerville, Douglas, Nichols, Georgia, Telfair County, Warrenton, Willock, and others, Gordon, and there are many other communities. I've been around the state of Georgia, and I've watched how other cities, not all of them, but most of them, without exception, the council members vote to grant, I repeat, the council members vote on whether or not they are going to grant a citizens additional time to lay out their concerns as a taxpayer. That wasn't done last night. They being the city council members, gave all that power to Mayor Scott James Matheson. And he just was under an ethics complaint. And this is a little bit of what the Pastor Neal spoke of last night. The ethics complaint to many citizens that attended was a bogus set up, and even the mayor himself appointed somebody or selected somebody to be on that buyer's board, I'm told, and you will hear this from other community leaders on my video a few weeks ago. You may not find what I'm talking about in the Valdosta Daily Times. You may not find on your local TV stations what I'm addressing here, but it is indeed the truth. Jesus said in St. John 8:32, and ye shall know the truth, and that the truth shall set and make you free. As I close, this is only a prelude into the video of tonight's meeting that I will put together in the next 2 or 3 days and post it on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter for your information. Now, do you not know that Valdosta is a strange place to live in Georgia? Now, what I just told you about probably will not be published in depth in any or on any news media agenda. Valdosta is what it is. They are creating a historical record. Now, Mayor Scott James Matheson may have thought that he was showing forth his power last night, but as Mr. Robertson talked about legal action, about the past and trying to revitalize the underprivileged people here in Valdosta city limits. He's not just talking about black folk, for there are white people that live on the south side of the railroad track of social divide that he brought forth. So now, as I close, I want to warn this city again, as I've done many times before. Valdosta will not remain the same. I have prophesied, predicted, or warned the city about the renaming of Bible Park, that it would be changed. I talked about the Georgia state flag not being displayed in front of City Hall, but it is today. It is today in front of the annex and other locations, but they are still government buildings that they apparently do not want to display the state flag in honor of our military personnel. Not even over the Southern Judicial Circuit, the courthouse in Lowndes County, Georgia. But we're going to continue to talk about it. Your newspapers, your TV stations will not cover that, although it was brought up at a public meeting in Valdosta and Titletown, USA. It was ignored by the mainstream white-owned, white-dominated, and white-controlled press here in Valdosta in Lowndes County, Georgia. Now, I'm not speaking ill of any news outlet. What I am speaking is the absolute truth, for I am not a lying man. Wait a minute. Say what? I heard you thinking. Well, when the white man was found dead on the south side of the railroad track of Social Divide in a hedgery where that dead man's corpse had been for 2 weeks, and when they removed that body, I went to the Valdosta Daily Times and told them about that, but you was never informed about it because it was never published in the news media outlets, to my knowledge, here in Valdosta. When I presented to the mayor and council a few weeks ago, and week before last, and I met with the city manager, Mark Barber, 4 days ago, about rats being in a federally funded housing area. And the mother called me, and she had killed 6 mouse on the sticky paper. And I stood before Mayor Scott James Matheson and all of the black and white city council members, and not one said anything about that. And I have the video to back up what I'm saying. But that was not news to the news media outlet here in South Georgia.
That way. They're going that way.
See, he can't get off that thing. He don't move that thing all the way from over there.
That's good, that's good.
Move out the
Move.
way. Would you sit down somewhere?
That mouse is
Golly. Yeah, he's bigger than those other 2 we caught Sunday night.
okay.
He's the size of the first one we caught.
How many of you uncaught in here?
This is number 6.
No. Number 6.
Golly. Caught another mouse.
No. Another mouse. Another mouse.
Yeah, another mouse. That's number 6.
Number 6.
So,
Oh, okay. So
let
big
me
one.
see. There's anyone. I guess right over here.
They even talk about the washing machines and other problems, grass not being cut. And this is a federally funded housing area here in the city of Valdosta, Georgia, but that is not news. Wait a minute. A 14-year-old girl was hog-tied, thrown to the ground. I mean, hog-tied as if though she had murdered someone. 14-year-old black girl at Pine Grove Middle School under the leadership of Wes Taylor, the superintendent of Lowndes County High School, and all county schools. And yet, that was not news to no South Georgia newspaper or television station. And you can see the mother and father talk about this on my Boston G.B.R. channel, but they never published what happened to that 14-year-old girl. But I did. I haven't finished yet. When I was called by a mother living in the Hudson Docket federally funded housing area about the dangerous playground and no swings for children to play with in the summer, bats flooding the area at night, sundown, and I stood before City Council and brought this up years ago. And I talked about how dangerous bats were to the children playing in Hudson Docket play area. Again, the Valdosta Daily Times, no mainstream news TV station published one word about that, but I did. None. wait a minute, let me give you another one. On May 13th, 2013, during Lowndes County High School graduation, I, being a member of the social press, was stopped by a sheriff deputy by the name of Thomas and another white guy 2 weeks earlier and placed on a criminal trespass, bogus I might add, for not violating any law. Over the sheriff deputy radio, under former Sheriff Chris Prime, said that Wes Taylor had placed me under a criminal trespass, yet I violated no law, caused no disturbance, didn't do anything other than serve my country for over 20 years, own a business here for 14 years, former president of the NAACP, and a licensed journalist to report the news. And after the death of Kendrick Johnson, some say they put me under this criminal trespass to keep me silent, and so I would not record the stories if those children brought it up to me because I was not in the clique and among the slicks. Now that's what they say, and you can hear them say this on videos that I have published concerning the death of Kendrick Johnson that occurred at Lowndes County High School under Superintendent Wes Taylor on January the 11th, 2013, when that young black man was found dead in the gymnasium under strange circumstances. And today, they are still seeking justice. And I am still awaiting, after 8 years, for the superintendent, the sheriff department, the chief of police, the probate courts, the magistrate courts, the superior court, or the federal court judges, or the chief judge of the Southern Judicial Circuit here in Valdosta and Lowndes County to remove me in writing, from this bogus, racist, unjustified criminal trespass, which is a defamation of character before my family, my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grands. This is a direct impact on who I am. And yet, the Valdosta Daily Times, for the last 8 years, have not published one word about this bogus, racist, unjustified criminal trespass under the Southern Judicial Circuit. Now, you ask why I mentioned the Southern Judicial Circuit. Because when it happened, I went to all these law enforcement agencies. I went to every court judge office at every level, probate, magistrate, superior court, district attorney Miller, and the federal courts. And without exception, each of them said to me, they didn't put anything in writing. I say, no, they did not. They said to me, they cannot do that. Without exception, all of them said that's wrong what they have done to you. But not a one of them, not even District Attorney Brad Shealy, have contacted me and said to me, I'm calling Wes Taylor, I'm calling the sheriff and asking them to remove you from that racist, bogus, unjustified criminal trespass, apparently to shut you up in the death of Kendrick Johnson. Well, y'all want me to go further? I can call so many cases such as that the Valdosta Daily Times, the white-owned, white-controlled news media would not publish. This is George Boston Rhymes standing in front of Lowndes County High School I cannot go to any football game. I cannot go to any Board of Education meeting. I've been banned for 2 years and 5 months after the death of Kendrick Johnson, and I'm going to continue to talk about it until somebody in the United States of America see a need that this military, retired military veteran with over 21 years in the United States Armed Forces, until somebody say to me and those active duty members I left behind that
where did all the love go? Somebody tell me where did it go?
Who killed KJ? Come on. Who killed KJ? Who killed KJ? Thank you.
Today makes 11 months my son was found at Lowndes High School, rolled up in a mat. I was at that school the day they found my son. They've treated us like nobody from day one. They're still treating us like nobody. But we declare that we're here to stay. We ain't going nowhere. They want us to leave, and when we leave, it's gonna be when they give us justice for my son.
Amen.
We want to thank everyone for coming out, supporting our family. But I want to know, they are known to use us and tear down our character. But Kendrick, that they can't do.
Amen.
Kendrick was at school where he was supposed to be.
Amen.
And out of 3,000 students, plus teachers, plus a school with resource officers at the school.
Yes.
How in the world can a student go missing during school and be murdered at school?
My.
As you all know, his organs was missing. But let me tell you a little bit about that. It's from the top of his head to his pelvis was missing. Yeah, the brain, his windpipe, his tongue, his heart, and everything else inside of his body was missing.
My Lord.
So I want the justice system to tell me, how is it that all of that is going on with his body, someone is not charged with something?
Amen. Yeah. Say it, Mike.
It can't be.
My God. Cannot be.
You mean to tell me, from the time he was last seen on that surveillance camera, within 15 or 20 minutes, he gonna cut off all of his fingernails till they start to bleed. He gonna scroll his photos around the gym. He gonna throw the shoe over inside the mat and say, I think I'll go over there and get it now. So how does one shoe inside the mat and the other one's away from the mat? And then he gets inside the mat, gets stuck, and then I guess the pair of shoes that he had on his feet, he kicks them off.
Makes no sense.
How can that be?
It's a lie.
It's a lie.
And other than that, the clothes that he had, what he dressed out in, how's the data missing? From the clothes he had on, from where they took him to make him to the crime lab, how come that they are missing? So out of all this stuff that's going on, why isn't someone arrested for something?
Amen. How long?
So is it the whole system in together? Because it ain't no way in the world that y'all don't see something. Thank you.
KJ! Who killed KJ? Come on! Who killed KJ? Who killed KJ? Thank you. KJ! All right.
Today makes 11 months my son was found at Lowndes High School, rolled up in a mat. I was at that school the day they found my son. They've treated us like nobody from day one. They're still treating us like nobody. But we declare that we're here to stay. We ain't going nowhere. They want us to leave, and when we leave, it's going to be when they give us justice for my son.
Amen.
We want to thank everyone for coming out, supporting our family.
But I'm going to end here. Wait a minute, I'll give you one more. Did y'all hear about the black police officer that are supposedly committed suicide? Well, I went to the Valdosta Daily Times and asked them if they was going to publish that, and they said no. But the people in the community had questions about that black man's death, and they still do. But what was published? Here again, I went and did a video in front of the Georgia State Patrol building, mainly because that's where I was given a copy of the police report. I later found out that there was more to it than committing suicide. I heard much more. But is it not amazing how a social media human being can publish information that those who are getting paid to keep the public informed refuse to publish? Now, you say, Rhymes, what you mean they didn't give you all extra time without confrontation? Now, we talked about, well, Robinson talked about attorneys and filing legal paperwork on the city. It was determined last night that the city talked about $350,000 for Antonio Smith. Now that Valdosta is a metro city, you now have people who are not afraid of this system. You have people who have self-pride and self-respect. I'm looking for Valdosta and Lowndes County to be sued down to their shoelaces. People are going to make some money in Valdosta simply because they refuse to listen to the citizens who try to save them money. Now look, last night with Mayor Scott James Matheson, do you not know? Now mainstream news media and the newspaper don't have this recorded history. I have in my archival record, and all my videos is filed in 3 states. I do that for a reason. Been doing it for over 15 years. I have a reason for that. And I can show wherein other folk was given more than 3 minutes, and there was no confrontation about it. Now, we have names. We have video footage to show that if you are in the clique and known among the slicks, you can talk pretty near as long as you want before the mayor and council. And I'm not only talking about this mayor. I'm talking about mayors that came before this mayor, going back even before Mayor Gayer. We can show you video where certain people did not get all the hostilities that we received. Do you not know 15 of us were arrested for trying to get Barber Park renamed? 15 of us was taken to the Lowndes County Jail for over 24 hours.
Valdosta 1860, disgraceful. City charter was placed in Valdosta City Hall until it was removed at the request of George Boston Rhymes. But not before the following individuals were arrested and jailed for over 24 hours. The charter read, "The mayor and council, they shall pass all proper and necessary laws and ordinances for the control of slaves and free persons of color in said town, and suppress and abate all nuisances arising from hogs, dogs, horses, or other stock straying at large in said town, or from other causes. The Valdosta 15 were arrested in 2005 seeking to rename Barber Park and address the mayor and council meeting. https://southgajustice.blogspot.com/2010. 1 Kaye Fielden, white female. 2 Lee Touchton, white female. 3 C Harris, black female. 4 F Chakere, black female. 5 Floyd Rose, black male. 6 Freddie Richardson, black male. 7 George B. Rhines, black male. 8 Jesse Clark, black male. 9 J.Y. Mosley, black female. 10 K. Camion, black female. 11 M.T. Sherman, black female. 12 Reggie Griffin, black male. 13 Tony Daniels, black male. 14 Willie Head, black male. 15 Willie J. Robertson, black male. Asterisk the 1860 Valdosta Charter was removed from the wall in City Hall. However, it seems to be very much alive here in Valdosta, Lowndes County until this day. G.B.R.
The Honorable Pastor Floyd Rose have been arrested twice for trying to speak before the podium in front of the people he elected to office to serve the needs of his community. Hello, somebody. Now, if you all are asking me, why am I talking like this? It is because somebody must show forth some love for your children and coming generations. That's why I talk about no Georgia flag flying over the Rainwater Conference Center, the Lowndes County Judicial Complex, the VA clinic, USDA building, not even the Air National Guard. try to be a Christian. I try to be a Muslim. I try to be a member of Judaism. I try to be the best of all the religions that I know of, including Buddhist. That's why I study Buddhism. I know about nature and what Buddha stood for, and how he taught that every life source possesses a soul. I have a soul, and I love all life sources. Now, y'all have a nice day and get ready to receive a video that I will be posting the next few days. In fact, I probably will repost this video at some point in that video. But first, part 1 will be, no, part 3 of 3 probably will be the citizens to be heard. Then I may do the complete city council meetings, unedited, uncut, so you can get the full picture. So you can check out what I have posted to see if I am lying or am I trying to be one of the best human beings that God has produced from the backwoods of South Georgia. Y'all sit back and relax. This is not the end, because when you speak the truth, according to Matthew 24:35, Jesus said heaven and earth would pass away, but my word and my truth would stand forever. Y'all have a nice day. I'm not going to say God bless you. I'm going to say God have already blessed you. Now what we need to do is be a blessing to one another by speaking up for what is right and trying to complement what God have already provided to us, and that is a level of truth, love, freedom, and righteousness. Do you know the birds of the field? They are free to do what you see them doing. And I stand before Valdosta City Hall to let you know that I'm free to give you the truth, even if you hate me for it. But I know that in the end, truth, right, and justice will win. Bye-bye. We go. Robson, what do you think about your presentation? How was it accepted? And what do you think about tonight's meeting?
Well, the main thing is that they would put on notice that an action is going to occur here, and they can take it lightly if they like, if they want to, but it's something they better not take lightly because we will be going to federal court.
Well, what do you think about the mayor not seeming to give a few minutes?
That was unfair.
It was unfair?
That was totally unfair. Totally unfair. And they know it's unfair. You know.
That ain't gonna matter. It's just the love of God. That matters now.
We're here loud and clear, but your time's up.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Time's up.
My time's up, and I have a question.
We'll follow up with you after the meeting.
Well, Mr. Mayor, you're a very hard person to follow. That's the reason why we filed a complaint against you, because we keep asking to speak to you. I don't have faith that you will talk to me. You are the mayor of Valdosta, and we filed a complaint against you because we keep asking to talk to you, and you ignore us. So I find it hard to believe that you will speak to us.
Please sit down.
I want to put you on notice that I'm going to speak
Whatever you want.
I'm going to speak civilly for the things that the state your seat to be removed, the committee you selected that exonerated you. I'm going to see you civilly. You stated that you said that I paid people to vote, and I didn't. And I'm angry. Very angry.
Any other citizens wishing to be heard this time? You get an extra minute.
So all these other people can just talk until they're done, and we can't? Aren't we citizens of Valdosta?
We'll now move on to the city manager's report. Please issue the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. My comments will be brief.
By saying, we all might as well get on the ship, because sooner or later, Valdosta gonna change. Don't think it's just Valdosta. Already, all the cities are standing before their elected officials as I'm standing here today. It's not just me. Reverend Malone and going across the state of Georgia. We're looking for change. We want help. We need help. We fought in every war of this nation. We are entitled to some of the economic capital. And I want to be a part of that change. And I hope that you all want to be a part of that change. I'm not angry, you know, I'm not raising my voice. We just want equity, and by God's grace.
Thank you,
Beg pardon?
so thank you, George. Your time's up.
Mr. Mayor, I think you can do better than that, but that's okay. I think you can do better.
I gave you what you asked for, George.
I think you can do better. No, I think you can do
I
better.
gave you exactly what you asked for.
But it's okay. It's okay. Because in the end,
Citizens be heard tonight.
you can do better.
501 Northfield Drive, Valdosta, Georgia. I came up here ready to commend council on something, but before I do that, I'm really appalled and offended that when you get to the citizens to be heard section, I looked at the council several times, several people talking, showing disconcern, not being attentive. And I think it's insulting for folk to sit through a council meeting to address council, and the least you can do is listen to them and be attentive to their concerns. So bear that in mind next time when someone gets up here. But I want to commend council.
Neil, what do you think about tonight's meeting, and why are you so compassionate about your points that you was trying to make, and in addition to the mayor's not granting a few minutes? I go to other cities across the state, and they give people additional minutes, and mostly it's the councilmen that stand up and grant that. They ask the council, say, yes, we want to give 2 minutes, 3 minutes. They didn't do that here tonight. Why do you think this council is different from other councils?
Well, I think that this council is not willing to hear the people. 3 minutes is not enough to state your claim. We've listened to an hour-and-a-half long meeting in which 4 people were given 12 total minutes with additional 3 minutes. We're talking at least 15 to 17 minutes that was given to 4 people, citizens that just had something to say. The entire night was given to me, an agenda that was already set in place, that it planned to go down just like it went down, a cookie cutter type meeting in which no one is supposed to oppose. I'm here tonight and I'm very passionate about this issue because Joe Biden, Senator John Ossoff, Senator Raphael Warnock, they have ensured and made sure that monies would go out to people that are underserved, that have been disenfranchised, folk that have been hurt, the American, or those people that the American dream, this alleged American dream, seems to bypass. This is an opportunity now. The door is wide open, and if we don't walk through it, we'll never get through it. The door's open now where funding can take people who've never been able to receive that dream, that they can get it now. And I'm here to make sure that that money goes where it's supposed to. There are people in our city government right now, let's say specifically the city manager, who has the opportunity to place these monies in different places, and I understand it to be differently. I see that he has an agenda to place money to supplement a budget that's already in place, and to place monies where typically they shouldn't go. This city has already budgeted for the different things that they're trying to do. Maintaining our infrastructure in these census tract areas, these impoverished areas, is very important. Bringing these people these small businesses that have been pushed aside, that money's there for them. Families that are living in cars, families that are living in hotels. We have children that are homeless. This shouldn't be in a system in which we just built an $86 million high school but can't take a child that's living in a car and they know about it. That's wrong. It's no other way to say it but wrong. And this money is brought to bring those people out of those holes. And if we do not do that, then we're not the government or the city we say that we are.
Pastor Neil, in addition to being pastor, what other title do you carry here in the city?
I'm the president of the NAACP, the Lowndes County chapter of the NAACP.
Okay, now, I stated when I was up, and I just want you to give me your opinion. The issue that are addressed here tonight in Valdosta is in Waycross, it's across the state of Georgia, it's across the nation. This is nothing that anybody's asking locally for. It is a national and federal movement. Am I right?
That's correct. There are cities, there are city governments that are standing up everywhere. We, the people, have reached a point where we're fed up. We're tired of being overlooked. We're tired of being underserved. We're tired of the promises that are broken. There's money in place right now, not yesterday, not coming. There's money in place right now that could help people in a very, very, very mighty way. If we do not take advantage of that, we're going to see the same old status quo occur where money's come down the line and they're never used where they're supposed to be. Some executive order, some executive decisions done, and money's never reached the black community.
And that includes CDBG grants as well?
CDBG. Joe Biden in his American Rescue Plan specifically spelled out 4 groups of people, not just minorities. He spelled out black people, Latino, American Indian, and Asian, that these 4 groups have been underserved across the United States, not just this year, not last year, but for decades, for centuries. We've been overlooked, and we built this country. Joe Biden has changed his position, the position he held some 40 years ago. He's changed his position. He has redeemed himself. He now wants to go backward and correct those mistakes and make sure the people, he has identified that the people of this country that I just named have been overlooked. It's something that we ignore. We pretend racism doesn't exist, but there are black people being shot by the police every day, and every day there's an excuse as to why these people are being shot. There are people right now that are homeless, that people are overlooked. It took Flint, Michigan years to get fresh drinking water. Why? There are people in Florida that suffered a hurricane 3 years ago that are still homeless and don't have. When do we as a people correct these mistakes? We've been given money, free money, to correct these things, to build and be an inclusive city. Why don't we take advantage of it? This is not the time to do the status quo.
Okay, in closing, do you give me permission to publish this to the general public where the other news media may not publish this?
Yes, sir.
Do you mind me publishing it?
No.
So the people in Valdosta will be educated, because education is the weapon,
yes.
Drugs are the enemy.
Yes.
Thank you very much.